कृष्ण। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम् देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथं तं सजीवं सान्द्रतं संवदितं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीशान्तं कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविद्याधिपतिनाथाय स्वामिने सुभक्तरतदास्पिहारिणीं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष मुखं करोति वाचालं श्री गुरुदेव। हरे कृष्ण। So stuff is it in the Shruti mantra? That's where we stop.
Yes, Mataji. From where we have to start. Shruti mantra.
Right. So this beautiful verse, which we should recite again. Aya Janmadiyasya Yatangayat Itaratas Charteshva Vidyasvara Tene Brahma Hridayadikavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Sargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastapuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So each and every line and every word Prabhupada has elaborated. So now let us see what more is. I'm not going back because it's recorded. It's on Facebook. If we forget or we missed it last time, we can just go back and listen. So in the Shruti mantra, it is also stated that the absolute truth, absolute whole of Brahman is the ultimate source of everything. Everything emanates from him and everything is maintained by him. And at the end, everything enters into him. That is the law of nature. In the Smriti mantra, the same is confirmed. It is said that the source from which everything emanates, at the beginning of Brahma's millennium and the reservoir to which everything ultimately enters, is the absolute truth of Brahman. Material scientists take it for granted that the ultimate source of the planetary system is the sun. But they're unable to explain the source of the sun. Okay, so I think at school, we learned that the sun is the source of life. But here the question is, what is the source of the sun? Herein the ultimate source is explained. According to the Vedic literatures, Brahma, who may be compared to the sun, is not the ultimate creator. It is stated in the shloka that Brahma was taught Vedic knowledge by the personality of Godhead. One may argue that Brahma, being the original living being, could not be inspired because there was no other being living at that time. Herein it is stated that the Supreme Lord inspired the secondary creator Brahma in order that Brahma could carry out his creative functions. So the Supreme Intelligence behind all creations is the absolute Godhead Shri Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna states that it is He only who superintends the creative energy, Prakriti, which constitute the totality of matter. Therefore, Shri Vyasadeva does not worship Brahma but the Supreme Lord, who guides Brahma in his creative activities. In this shloka, the particular words Abhigya and Swarat are significant. These two words distinguish the Supreme Lord from all other living entities. No other living entity is either Abhigya or Swarat. That is, no one is either fully cognizant or fully independent. Even Brahma has to meditate upon the Supreme Lord in order to create. Then what to speak of great scientists like Einstein? The brains of such a scientist are certainly not the products of any human being. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain, and what to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of the Lord. Now this artificial intelligence, right? So it looks like we don't know whether they'll be able to match with Einstein's brain, all right? No, because they are creating artificial intelligence. So will they be able to create the brain of a great scientist like Einstein? The brains of such a scientist are certainly not the products of any human beings. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain, and what to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of the Lord. Any reason why? I'm just speaking of what's the difference between AI, meaning artificial intelligence, and Einstein's brain. What could be the difference? I don't know whether any one of us here are, in technology.
Is it that in AI, it's humans that are putting information into the computer, and then it tells you, whereas Einstein was probably guided directly by source. No?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, in AI, we are feeding in information from our own brain, right? Yeah, whereas Einstein, he got the inspiration, right? So, yeah, meaning the brain of the Supreme Lord inspired him. Even Mayavadis, impersonalists who flatter themselves that they can become one with the Lord are neither Abhidya nor Swarat. So the Mayavadis say, yes, we are all one, and we are one with Narayan. But this tiny Narayan is neither Abhidya nor Swarat. Such impersonalists undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge, to become one with the Lord. But ultimately, they become dependent on some rich disciple who supplies them with money to build monasteries and temples. Atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of the Lord. But ultimately, they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared before them as cruel death. So Prabhupada is enumerating about the brains and this point of Abhidya and Swarat. So the scientists are not independent, and the Mayavadi also, they are not independent because they become dependent on some rich disciples. So yeah, this is something that we learn. ISKCON also, right? We collect money. We go to all the big donors and we collect from them. Supply money to build monasteries and temples. It's very like, if you see, you know, the way of like our, like, thinking of Bhaktacharya Swami, you know, how so many people will donate, but allow them to control. They never allow them to. Anybody try to control, you know? Because people donate, then they say, okay, now I'm sorry?
Can't hear you, Mataji. It's the words are being cut.
You can't hear me?
No, Mataji.
I don't know. Haribol,
You're breaking up.
I'm breaking up. Well, but Haribol, anyway, let's continue because I'm speaking slowly also.
Okay.
All right. I'm speaking slowly and maybe there is space between my words. Are you hearing? Are you hearing? Yeah. Because I'm speaking slowly. I was thinking and speaking slowly. It's not, I'm not just speaking, I was thinking. And I was thinking before I speak. Not that I was cut. That's how, I guess the difference between AI and being personally present, right? Isn't it? If we're personally present, you know that I'm actually thinking before I open my mouth. Anyway, let's skip it then. Let's go on. Atheists like Ravana or Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of the Lord. But ultimately they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared before them as cruel death. This is also the case with the modern atheists who also dare to flout the authority of the Lord. Such atheists will be dealt with similarly, for history repeats itself. Whenever men neglect the authority of the Lord, nature and her laws are there to penalize them. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita in the well-known verse, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi. Whenever there is a decline of dharma and a rise of adharma, O Arjuna, then I incarnate myself. So that's very important because the world right now is being governed, captured by atheists who are putting in their own principles of adharma, right? They're dragging the entire world in adharma. And Prabhupada is giving the warning here that these people will be punished, just like Hiranyakashipu was punished. So, we have to be extremely careful. All right, who wants to read?
Read Mataji.
Yeah, yes.
That the Supreme Lord is all perfect is confirmed in all Shruti mantras. It is said that the Shruti mantras that the all perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. Living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and he
Just
in-
it's echoing.
Yeah,
echoing. Myself.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
don't-
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Kailash Mataji, you please mute yourself.
I forgot where I was now. Where was I? The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and he impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks, and thus the creative energies are set in motion to enact so many wonderful creations. An atheist may argue that God is no more expert than a watchmaker, but of course God is greater because he can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. The male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of God. But that is not possible, for each machine has to be handled individually. Therefore, no one can create as well as God. Another name for God is Ashamudava. Ashamudava?
Yeah.
Which means that no one is equal to or greater than him. Param Satyam, or the supreme truth, is he who has no equal or superior. This is confirmed in the Smriti mantras. It is said that before the creation of the material universe, there existed the Lord only, who is master of everyone. The Lord instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge that Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. Anyone who wants to get rid of the material entanglement must surrender unto him. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, so here Prabhupada is making a very important point. That so this is from the Shruti mantras that the Supreme Lord he creates, and then he sets into motion such a like he's the original creator, and he sets into motion something that there is automatic creation. And what is that automatic creation? So what can the atheists do and what the Supreme Creator can do? So let's say we have one machine. We take up a famous AI machine, all right? So one machine cannot reproduce another machine, right? It has to be created separately, and then you put in the information separately. Whereas Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is so inconceivable and no one is greater equal to him. Why? Because he creates machines in duplicate male and female forms, meaning that the female form is a machine and the male form is a machine, and these, they duplicate themselves, right? They duplicate themselves, they create another one, they create another one, another. He doesn't himself have to create each and every body and then put in, and the whole story, putting in the soul and then push him into the next cycle, the next one, next one. No, it happens automatically. Whereas these individual computers has to be handled individually, right? Separately and individually. So he can just do it and it doesn't require his attention. So this is very important. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, like one pot creating another pot, from that one pot it creates another pot, that one pot creates another pot. You understand? Such a machine does not exist. You need a potter, right, to create pot after pot. What a wonderful example. So, if a man could manufacture such a set of machine that could produce other machine without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of God. But that is not possible. For each machine has to be handled individually. Therefore, no one can create as well as God. All right. So this, and then Prabhupada is saying that this Param Satyam, someone who has no equal and no superior. And that Supreme Lord, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, he gave that initial knowledge in the heart of Lord Brahma. And this Supreme Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. So, all of us who are here, who have children or grandchildren, now we are convinced that's why we are, taking the trouble to study Bhagavatam. But we should teach. We should teach the Supreme Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. Anyone who wants to get rid of the material entanglement must surrender unto him. It's not optional. It's not at all optional. Sometimes when we distribute books, we say, are you interested to read this book? Would you like to read this book? It's not optional, actually. People say, no, I'm not interested. Okay, let me have a look at it. No. Did you read the book? You were not interested? So it's not optional. So that has to be taught. I'm just saying this because I think none of us here were taught that this was compulsory to know about the Supreme Lord. That we have to obey the Supreme Lord. I don't know if any one of us here, or we were just living our life, like floating, feeling everything is okay, but then you develop an interest, in knowing about the Vedic knowledge. I think that's how it happened with most of us. But here, the Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. Jay, you would like to read? Bhanu? You would like to read?
Mataji, I'm sorry for work for today. For me to look down today. Sorry, Mataji, not today.
Rashmi, you want to read?
Matthew. Unless one surrenders onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, it is certain will be bewildered. When an intelligent man surrenders onto the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely that Krishna is the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, then only can such an intelligent man become a Mahatma or great soul. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Only the Mahatmas can understand that the Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of all creations. He is Parama, or ultimate truth, because all other truths are relative to him. He is omniscient. For him there is no illusion.
So, unless one is intelligent, he cannot surrender. Right? So, meaning that if we remain foolish, right? Those fools, namam prapadyante muddha, right? If we're fool, then we don't surrender to him. So unless one is intelligent, he's not able to surrender to Krishna. So therefore, we have to make our children intelligent. We must make, I'm speaking of preaching, each and every one of us here, we are reading. And if we find the opportunity, if we find proper candidates, we have to try our luck. Just like today, we started a new batch of our cooking class. And so we say it's a lot of work, hard work, put up the advertisement and collect the registrations. And then finally, maybe 8-10 ladies turned up. And then here we are in the kitchen, and it's a 3-4 hours class, So then we start telling them, because these are all Indians, we are in India. So tell them everything about the science of cooking, the science of your kitchen, the science of food, explaining about prasadam. And these poor ladies are looking at me completely shocked. Shocked and thinking that yes, this is how it used to be even 1 or 2 generations ago, right? So, and they started thinking that yes, I have to change the way I eat. I have to change the way I maintain my kitchen, right? So what I'm saying is that they are not fools, all right? They are not fools, but they have been befooled by time, right? Adharma has crept in. So when I reminded them of what they already know, what their grandparents practiced, the simple thing about eating, they agreed, they accepted. So what I'm saying is that intelligence has to be reawakened. So, yeah, I'm taking this because, this is my area of service, bring back the science of food, prasadam, cleanliness of the kitchen, prayers before eating, etc., right, Shikala? You're part of the whole team, right? You know how much work goes in all this. Year after year, we are doing this. Since now, we're on the 11th year now, when we have every year maybe 50 women who join our cooking classes and revive their intelligence. Yeah, so many things. So what I'm saying here, when an intelligent man, unless one surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that he'll be bewildered. All right? So that applies to all of us. That we don't know what we're supposed to do. And this dharma glani, this fall down of religion has happened. So now reviving it. So when an intelligent man surrenders to the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely like Krishna, the cause of all causes. So why am I giving you this example? Because what we are reading here is just a theory. But the application is like, okay, if these women at the end of our session, so we have 6 sessions. So if after 6 weeks of hearing the philosophy and make them practice something, if they decide, all right, I must offer my food, this means they have surrendered to Krishna. And if they are ready to apply all the principles that we have taught them, in the process of cooking and eating, then it means that now they're no longer bewildered. So now, like it's shock for them, change their lifestyle or whatever, So they're like, oh my God, am I going to do this? So if they actually do it, then our program is successful because we have been able to convince somebody to surrender to Krishna. Follow?
Why were they shocked?
Sorry?
What was shocking to the ladies? What they found shocking?
So many things. Yeah, first thing. Anyway, I can't explain. You have to experience it. Right? You have to experience it. Because I see everybody is only interested in eating, right? Everybody's interested only in eating, and they will join a cooking class to eat, to have more varieties of, food, right? And here you are, you're teaching the entire science of Krishna consciousness about eating. And these days, people don't even want to cook, right?
Mataji, look, like I cook, but because I in our family we eat onions and garlic, so obviously I don't offer it to Krishna because Krishna, you can't offer onions and garlic to him. I was speaking to Rashmi men, so anything that cook without onions and garlic, I should just offer that as prasadam, but I feel bad because it's not a full meal.
Yeah, well, before you put onion and garlic, just keep something separate and right.
I'll cook something separate then without onions and garlic.
Yeah, so the same dish, right? The same, like say dal. I don't know whether you put onion in. I don't know what people
Well,
put in dal.
I've started cutting down on garlic, and now I use more ginger, but at certain dishes we still put onions as a base.
Yeah, yeah. So therefore, the same dish you cook it separate.
Cook it
Okay.
separate.
Yeah, and the other because the family will protest, and then gradually you increase the proportion. They won't even know there's no onion and garlic in it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody. We have all had prasadam. All of us have had prasadam in the temples.
Yeah.
All of us. So does it feel there's no onion and garlic in it? Is it less tasty? People are going mad trying to, get the taste from the temple. Right? They want to know what is that taste? What is that taste? Right? No onion and garlic. What is that taste? That's why they're joining our cooking class. They're trying to figure out what is it. Right? So I have to teach them the science to get that taste in their own kitchen. Right? Science of cooking and
So when you say
Again,
science,
Krishna.
how do you learn the science of cooking then? Where do you get that information?
Yes, science meaning that when you offer to Krishna, it gets transformed from ordinary food to spiritual food, right? It's a transformation from matter to spirit,
Ah.
right? Yeah, and your consciousness has to be proper, your method has to be proper, right? So it's a whole approach to your kitchen, your attitude, your motivation, proper atmosphere in your kitchen, right? Kitchen is a very private place. It's the most confidential place, right? It's a temple. Your kitchen is a temple. So all that we are teaching them. And so we are making them go through the experience. So if I will just read the book, then they can't understand. But when we make them go through the experience, so if we manage to convince some of them to follow the process, then it meaning they surrender to Krishna. they actually give in and take the trouble, because it's trouble. It's very easy and simple to go down. You can just slide down very easy. But if you want to go up, it means some austerity, right? Some sacrifice, some austerity. You know? For example, be clean, get up in the morning, immediately you take your bath before you go in the kitchen, right? So these are forgotten things. Mhm. So there is the information, all right, and then there is the practice. So surrender to Krishna, what does it mean? It's just words, surrender to Krishna. But I'm giving you an example, for the ladies, right? And validating their work. Unfortunately, women think that cooking is, not for me, right? My life is not supposed to be in the kitchen, right? Right? So validating this most valuable service, right? If you don't feed Krishna, you don't eat, right? So to think it is, and therefore, because the ladies don't cook, therefore, all the restaurants and cafes, etc., are flourishing, right? They're taking money from you. You go to work, and they take your money, and they take away your health also. They take away your consciousness. They take away your mind, right? They're taking the whole of you. It's addiction. Literal addiction, what's happening here in Bombay. Literal addiction. Just order food from outside, order food. So they're flourishing like anything, right? You're giving yourself to business people. So much to say. So Prabhupada created a complete revolution when he introduced this prasadam, this concept of prasadam. So this is one area where you show your surrender. When you accept to cook for Krishna, maintain your kitchen for Krishna, maintain your children, your family for Krishna. Right? Okay,
So
let's go.
Mataji, if I cook separate for Krishna, for Lord Krishna for his prasad, and then do I keep it separate, or can I mix it with the other one and then give it to the whole family so they all get prasadam?
Yeah. You mix it. All right.
Then
We
can't
have-
waste it. You can't throw away because it's prasad, right?
You mix it, so we have to find ways and means so that's called intelligence, right? That's called
Then we can't waste the food because it's prasad. You can't throw it away, right?
Yeah. So you mix with the rest, and then this is called intelligence. So when an intelligent man surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely that Krishna, the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, then only can such an intelligent man become a Mahatma or great soul. So you understand here, even though we're simple people, very, very simple people, I don't know, maybe some of us are not, but we are basically most of us simple people, but we can become Mahatma. All right? We can become Mahatma if simply we accept Krishna's order and surrender in our daily life. All right? I have given one area of our life where we can surrender. Duties of women. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Only the Mahatmas can understand that the Supreme Lord the primeval cause of all causes, creation. Only Mahatmas can understand that the Supreme Lord, the primeval cause of all creation. So meaning, I'm again taking our example of cooking. So you become a Mahatma if you know that this food grain that I'm eating, the source is Vishnu. And I should give it back to him. I should offer it to him first before I eat. All right? So if I become so intelligent and understand this Supreme Lord Vishnu is my provider and maintainer, and as an act of gratitude and recognition, right? The recognition of that he's the proprietor, the real proprietor of this grain, right? So when I offer to him, this is from Shishopanishad actually, what I'm talking about. So we become a Mahatma, so that Mahatma, he understands that the Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of all creation. He's the cause of your food. He's created your food. Your body is made of food. Right? And what more? He's Parama, or ultimate truth, because all other truths are relative to him. So your reality exists only in relation to him. Omniscient. Anyway, all this will be gradually unpacked, as we say. Here is only sutras, they're just like sutras, meaning in short form is being said. But we are going to study each and every word, every concepts as we study this Bhagavatam. What is this absolute truth? What is relative truth? Omniscient, for him there is no illusion. So for me, there is an illusion that I have a family. And that family disappears one after the other. They disappear. Either they leave the world, they leave their body and they break the relationship with you, or they leave you in this life itself. Right? So we were in the illusion that this one, that one belonged to me, or I belong to this one, that one, or my house belonged to me, then suddenly I have to shift, move to another house or whatever, right? So these are our illusion, but for him, Krishna has no illusion. No illusion. His families, his family members, his household, his house, his creation are all fixed and certain. Whereas for us, it's shifting. It's illusion. Whatever you lose means it's illusory. If there is anything that you don't lose, that remains with you, fixed asset, we call it, right? So that is truth. Anything that is shifting away from you is illusion. Some Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, and some of them suggest that this book is a modern creation written by someone named Vopadev. In order to refute such meaningless arguments, Sri Sridhar Swami points out that there is reference to the Bhagavatam in many of the oldest Puranas. This first shloka of the Bhagavatam begins with a Gayatri mantra. There is a reference to this in the Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana, it is said with reference to the Gayatri mantra in the Bhagavatam that there are many narrations of spiritual instructions beginning with the Gayatri mantra. And there is the history of Vritrasura. Anyone who makes a gift of this great work on a full moon day attains to the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. So Bhadra Purnima is coming very soon, right? all of you are gifting a Bhagavatam set to a friend. So here, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the glory of Bhagavatam. So some people are saying that no, this Bhagavatam is not compiled by Vyasadeva, it's compiled by someone recent, Bhupadi. And here, our Acharya is saying, no, the Srimad Bhagavatam is referred to in other Puranas. Therefore, it is ancient, and they are giving evidence that this Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, start with Gayatri Mantra. We have studied this, how the Srimad Bhagavatam is Gayatri Mantra. So start with Gayatri Mantra. Then there's the story of Vritrasur. And then it is also said in the same Bhagavatam, if in Magh Purnima, in the month of Bhadra. So if we give, when the sun enters Magh, I think that's what it is. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is placed on a golden throne and worship is. And if on that day we gift the Srimad Bhagavatam, then what happened? It's guaranteed that we return back home, back to Godhead. So Bhadra Purnima, that Purnima day is coming soon. In September. Which date is it? Around 7th September, right? 6th September. All right. So please, everybody, donate a set of Bhagavatam either to yourself or to somebody. If you're reading from digital, please buy yourself a set of Bhagavatam or gift to a friend. One set of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the benediction given there. There is reference to the Bhagavatam in other Puranas also, where it is clearly stated that this work was finished in 12 cantos, which include 18,000 shlokas. So Srimad Bhagavatam consists of 12 skand, meaning sections of topics. And it contains 18,000 shlokas. How many shlokas are there in Bhagavad Gita? Not Shikala. Yeah. How many shlokas are there in Bhagavad Gita?
2. And now it's
How many?
700.
Yeah, 700. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. And Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses. In the Padma Puran also there is reference to the Bhagavatam in a conversation between Gautama and Maharaj Ambarish. The king was advised therein to read regularly Srimad Bhagavatam if he desired liberation from material bondage. Under the circumstances, there is no doubt about the authority of the Bhagavatam. Within the past 500 years, many erudite scholars and acharyas like Jeev Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Vallabhacharya, and many other distinguished scholars, even after the time of Lord Chaitanya, made elaborate commentaries on the Bhagavatam. And the serious student would do well to attempt to go through them to better relish the transcendental messages. And that's what we are doing right now, right? Are you enjoying reading this Bhagavatam? Yes? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur specifically deals with the original and pure sex psychology, Adi Rasa, devoid of all mundane inebriety. The whole material creation is moving under the principle of sex life. In modern civilization, sex life is the focal point for all activities. Wherever one turns his face, he sees sex life predominant. Therefore, sex life is not unreal. Its reality is experienced in the spiritual world. The material sex life is but a perverted reflection of the original fact. The original fact is in the absolute truth, and thus the absolute truth cannot be impersonal. It is not possible to be impersonal and contain pure sex life. Consequently, the impersonalist philosophers have given indirect impetus to the abominable mundane sex life because they have overstressed the impersonality of the ultimate truth. Consequently, man without information of the actual spiritual form of sex has accepted perverted material sex life as the all in all. There is a distinction between sex life in the disease condition, material condition, and spiritual sex life. Remember the machine, duplicate machine, right? Right, so this is in this material world, this sex life produces duplicate machines, right? Without Krishna's intervention, direct intervention. It goes on and on and on, right? Because of this sex life. This is the energy that is moving this duplication of machines. So now, in Srimad Bhagavatam, so Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, he directly addresses this thing about sex, right? So he's saying that the Adi Rasa, devoid of all mundane inabilities, misconceptions, and illusion, this misconception, misuse. So Prabhupada is explaining that the impersonalists, because they deny the personality of Godhead, Krishna, and therefore they throw out his loving relationship in conjugal love, either in Swakiya or in Parakiya. So they reject all this. Therefore, people in this world say, okay, this is a taste that is so good in this world, so therefore let me enjoy life in this material world. Why should I go there? There's nothing, right? Again. Original fact is in the absolute truth, meaning this conjugal love is in the absolute truth. And thus the absolute truth cannot be impersonal. It is not possible to be impersonal and contain pure sex life. Consequently, the impersonalist philosophers have given indirect impetus to the abominable, okay, so the word here used is abominable, mundane sex life, because they have overstressed the impersonality of the absolute truth. Consequently, man without information of the actual spiritual form of sex has accepted perverted material sex life as the all in all. And everybody knows how much trouble it causes. This mundane material sex life. This Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfectional stage of transcendence. It will enable him to transcend the three modes of material activities: fruitive actions, speculative philosophy, and worship of functional deities as inculcated in Vedic verses. Right, so this great adventure is going to start. To discover Krishna, discover the spiritual world, to know what the material world is all about. So if we have the good fortune of completing this first canto, it should be sufficient to make us self-realized. So therefore, we are reading and we should practice. We should chant, and we just had a little discussion about food, right? The central point of our life, whoever you may be. At the end of the day, you have a material body made of the 5 elements, and you have to derive those elements from food. All right. So, put into practice. I wouldn't like, see, I don't meet you, I don't have any contact with any one of you except Shikala, sometimes Rashmi, you know. But I'm hoping that, you know, you're all together in your Sangha and that you're practicing. You know, my service here is only to give you the information, but the practice is in your own Sangha. All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhischa kripasindrachapatitam Vaishnava. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will meet next week.